Hi, I'm wait. Excuse me. I'm Reverend Zach. I don't know what the fuck that was.
I'm Francis.
And welcome to This Movie Was a Hot Dog, a podcast where me and my brother, Francis over here, watch a bad movie, critically, financially, or otherwise, then we review it, break it down, and tell you what we think. And this week we watched 1985's classic film, My Science Project. It was directed by, hold on while I stall, some guy named Jonathan R. Butel.
One of my favorites.
Oh yeah, isn't he everybody's? He's so famous he doesn't have a Wikipedia page, so it's impossible to know anything about him. This is a comedy science fiction film, which was apparently 1985 was the year of that. Do you know any other comedy science fiction films that came out in 1985?
I can't think of any offhand.
Back to the Future.
Oh, that's a good one.
Weird Science.
I don't remember this one.
That's the one where the kids make a lady come to life through computers.
I didn't see it.
You didn't see Weird Science?
No.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
And Real Geniuses, which I know you haven't seen either. That one's also not bad. But for some reason, we all, like, the concept of teenagers getting involved in wacky sci-fi gizmos was like a cool thing just in 1985, though, just in that year.
A lot of teenager films where they're deciding the outcome of the world as well.
Yeah, you're right. Like, the entire fate of the planet is in the hands of a 17-year-old kid. But in those films, though, there's, like, the main character, if not one of the main characters, is, like, kind of smart, or at least, like, street smart. The main character in this is, like, a dummy.
Motorhead. That's all he is.
He's not even a motorhead. Like,
Monkey?
This guy, I don't know if this is an acting choice, like if this was the actor, or this is how the movie was supposed to be. This guy doesn't have a thought in his big dumb head. It's just the way when they're talking to him, he's like, I don't know. They're like, what do you like to do? He's like, cars. Well, what do you do in your spare time?
Cars.
I don't know, just like cars and stuff.
They never specify what exactly he does with cars.
He's a motorhead, like you said. So anyway, we leap into this movie where off screen, like the movie starts and it's just a black screen. And we hear this like radio, like Roger, blah, 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 oh no, the bogey's down, something's crashing off screen because it's too expensive and we can't afford to show you. And then we just cut to an Air Force base.
Dawson?
Where what was it called?
Dawson Air Force Base.
Dawson Air Force Base, where a pretty convincing Eisenhower look-alike shows up.
Yeah, and they basically take him to like an Area 51-like hangar.
But it's in like, where are we? We're in California, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in California, Eisenhower shows up, and they just show him this spaceship, this giant glowing spaceship with lights all over it, and his reaction that this general is like, so this is the thing that we found the aliens inside, they're dead, blah, blah, blah. And Eisenhower's reaction is just get rid of it.
Like, just throw it in the trash.
Get rid of it? Why?
Yeah.
He doesn't have any questions.
Like, where did it come from? Like, how far?
What can it do?
Are there people? Are there things inside? Or I think actually he does ask about that.
Yeah, he does, because I literally just said it. The things inside are dead.
Oh, yes.
I
must have missed that part. I'm trying.
The President of the United States, for the first time, has proof of aliens and another intelligent species, and his immediate thought is, I don't want to deal with this, just throw it away.
He's like, I got more pressing issues going on right now.
Yeah, and the general's like, okay, point our giant laser gun at it?
My notes say, cool laser, bro.
Like, 3 scientists just shoot a laser at this thing, and I guess destroy it, because we don't see, because that scene is literally 90 seconds long, and then we just flash forward to 1985.
Now, and then through the whole movie, I was going, so is this college or high school?
Oh, it's high school.
It seems quite sophisticated for a high school.
What is sophisticated about it?
I don't know. They're like talking about their major in high school.
Yeah, because they're graduating.
Well, I thought they meant while they were in high school.
No, because that's not a thing.
I know. That's why it confused me.
Okay, well, at the end, they say high school about 1,000 times because the entire finale takes place in the high school.
You win, then.
They say high school more times than they need
Yes,
to.
but at that point in the film, you know what I mean? Like right at the beginning.
Yeah, but in retro... Moving on. So we're in this high school class where Dennis Hopper is this science teacher.
Bob.
That's right. His name is Bob. He's an old hippie, and he calls the police pigs, and everything's free love, and he still drives a hippie van and has a peace symbol necklace. And he yells at our main character, Mike, and his best friend, Fisher Stevens.
I like that guy's character.
Fisher Stevens, a lot of you may know him as the actor who dressed up in brown face and played an Indian in Short Circuit and Short Circuit 2.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he played an Indian man. So Fisher Stevens looks so weird. He's super skinny in this movie. Like, he's the skinniest I've ever seen him. And he's always known for like a guy who has like a really long neck. But because he's so skinny and his neck is so skinny, it makes his head look huge.
It's almost like a giraffe.
He's got like a creepy long neck, and he looks like a big like turtle man.
Yeah, I guess I don't really recognize. I'm not big into knowing what actors did what and all that. So
I host a movie review show where I fancy myself sort of a critic. I don't like to know who actors are or what they've done or really anything about the movie.
I think it makes me unbiased.
It certainly makes it unsomething. So
well, I'm sorry.
That's quite all right.
So anyway,
Go ahead.
So he gets yelled at because he doesn't have a science project. He's going to graduate in 2 weeks, or supposed to graduate in 2 weeks. He doesn't have a science project even started yet.
And the final is tomorrow.
Yeah, he should probably start studying for that.
Which he just shakes that off.
But he's like, when I was a kid, I was like you, but you still got to pass. And basically says, get your shit together. And then when they walk out, he's just huffing on something. Yeah,
he just pulls out like a can of nitrous or something,
and
just like he just starts huffing on it, and he says something like "groovy man" or something like that. There is a lot of like teachers doing drugs, kids smoking in class. Everybody's drinking and driving. The 80s was just the Wild West of apparently you could just do whatever the fuck you wanted.
I want to go to high school in the 80s now.
Yeah, so do I. Oh, Jesus, my chair just went down. Hold on.
See?
I just hit the thing on the bottom of my chair that made me go down, and I went down very quickly.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I think I'll live.
Okay. So
Mike, the name of the student, goes outside, and his girlfriend Crystal breaks up with him because she read a Cosmo article that told her to.
GG girlfriend.
By the way, his girlfriend looks like she's like 28 years old.
She's been held back a few times.
She looks so much older than he does.
Well, all the actors always look older than being teenagers in a lot of the films we've watched.
Well, yes, like nowadays, I don't know for some reason, but by the time we hit the year 2000, everybody realized you can hire kids to play their own ages.
Yeah, before that, it was,
Before that, it was like, all right, we need a bunch of 17-year-olds, and everybody's 35.
That I just kind of try to look young.
You say that like they got a muscle they can flex, and they're like, do I look 17 now? So, Mike is walking away. He's followed by the yearbook editor, who is this nerdy chick that will eventually become his love interest, and her name is Sawyer.
I wouldn't have seen that coming.
I didn't either. I thought that was just going to be a throwaway scene.
Yeah, I know. I didn't see it either. So.
Yeah, and she's followed by like a very typical 80s nerd. He's got his greased hair, and he's got the glasses that he pushes with his nose and suspenders. And he becomes a character later on, too. I thought he was just the 80s nerd.
And he was a mini villain for a little while?
A mini villain, and then becomes part of, like, the hero team. He's all over the place in this movie.
I like this character.
I don't even know his name.
Yeah, I forgot his
Nerdy guy.
Nerdy, yeah, that's what it says here. So the girl ends up like she wants to interview him. That's the big thing.
Yeah, for the yearbook, because clearly he doesn't have any plans for like after college or really tomorrow or his science project. And this is where we find out that he is just incredibly obsessed with cars, and that is the only thing he cares about.
She's asking him questions, and you guys know, everyone that's been following the podcast for a long time, which I know the numbers are growing vastly.
Yeah.
would know that I am the video game and comic nerd here, resident between the two of us. And I loved one of the questions she asked him, what's his favorite video game? Do you remember what he says?
No.
He goes, the World Series. And I looked it up. There's no such thing.
And then the other question is, how many times have you seen Jedi? Not Return of the, just Jedi.
That's the hip way to ask.
Well, in 85, that's what you called it.
Hey, did you see Jedi?
So, this is. She's like, what are you gonna do? I don't know. I just like cars. Like, well, what do you do in your spare time? He's like, I guess I just work on my cars. And for like 30 minutes of this movie, that is his personality trait. That's it. He just likes cars.
Yeah, that's all he does. He's either driving one or working on it or breaking down in one, and that's all it is.
And you know what? He doesn't really change by the end of this movie. Nobody does. There's no arc in this film.
The nerd does a little.
The nerd does a little bit, but he's not even. Nobody cares about him. He's not a main character or anything. Like, our main character, who is just obsessed with cars, is probably going to fail out of high school, has no plans to go to college or do anything after high school. By the end of the movie, he's just the same guy. He's dirtier, though. He has, like, grease on his face.
A good role model for young students of 1985.
So,
there's the scene where she's talking to him about the yearbook, the car, like he's in one car and she's in another or something like that. He fixes her car. She tricks him into getting an interview.
No, she tricks him into getting a date.
You're right.
She sabotages her car so that he'll come help her because he's the motorhead. He's like, your car's not broken. What do you want? And she's just like, she basically begs him for a date.
And just during this, and we're going to get back to that here in a second, I just noticed that, well, yet again, behind them, the nerd is in the car, and I believe the jocks call him fag.
Oh, yeah, the jocks call him fag. The jocks say fag later. Fisher Stevens calls somebody a fag. It's the 80s. We just love making fun of gay people and saying gay slurs. So what they eventually tell us is that he is just lazy and stupid, is too lazy and stupid to make his own science project.
And I'm just wondering, when the hell does the whole science project part come in? At this point when I was watching the movie, I'm like, so...
Well, because when Dennis Hopper's talking to this kid, he talks to him, he's like... you have a lot of promise, and you have a lot of potential, and you have a lot of know-how, and a lot of like mechanical smarts. He says that it is never shown to us. Never at one point does he he's the meathead, he's failing out of school because nobody understands him, but then he goes home and he reads Kierkegaard, and he's like building his own radio out of nuts and bolts. He's just a dumb, stupid idiot who is just too lazy to do his science project. She begs to go on a date with him. Then we just cut to the Air Force base from the beginning. They don't tell us why he's there. They don't tell us what they're doing there, why she's there with him. They're just there now, and they break into this Air Force base, which has become a junkyard for old airplanes. He basically goes, well, I don't know how to science, so I'm just gonna steal something and say I did it.
Great role model for young kids of 1985 to follow.
He's just like, you. What does he? What?
You can't just find an object and go science project.
Yeah, what's he gonna do? First of all, it's just an airplane junkyard. So what does he think he's gonna find?
Well, he falls into.
Well, I mean, he finds something.
Yes, but
what does he think he's gonna find?
Science.
Just an science, an airplane part, and he's just gonna put that on a table and go, "That's my science project."
Well, so he falls down into an old fallout shelter.
it seemed like it was a shed that just got buried.
Well, no, they had a bunch of fall. He says it. He goes, an old fallout. But we can't go off his intellect, really.
Well, because it also has a wooden roof. Like, that's not a fallout shelter. It's just got normal wood paneling.
Well, that ruins my next comment. I wanted to say, hey, Fallout 4's out.
Yeah, let's date this podcast. Great. So.
Sorry.
So let's bring up something that won't be relevant in 2 months.
It won't.
Do you realize by the time this podcast is released, it'll be January of 2016?
Well, some people might have not gotten the game yet.
In 2 months?
Never mind. We probably should cut that part out.
Nope, leave it in.
Oh.
So he falls inside what is basically a buried shack, and apparently when Eisenhower's administration decided to get rid of this spaceship and everything inside, they decided to store this alien technology in a shed and just bury it.
And, of course, the warning on the box he finds just says, don't open this, and that, of course, will just deter anyone from opening the box.
And it's not even in a safe or a box. It's just a box that says, please don't open this. He opens it, and he finds what looks like a boombox with a plasma ball from Spencer's Gifts in the middle of it.
That's what I said. I'm like, you can just go buy it. Why is he pulling these? You're like, I could get this anywhere.
Yeah, it's just this boombox looking piece of shit, but it's this alien technology. He gets out with it. Guard sees them, and they both run away.
Nothing like blatant theft of federal property.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we're just going to skip over this because who cares? Him and Sawyer, this is their date. They grow. They're like, oh, they start to love each other, blah, blah, blah. And by the end, they're in love. We've paved the way for that.
I have a question. Why didn't they get pursued off the base?
By the end of this movie, they should be in jail.
It's like, what, they just get off the base and it's like, ollie, ollie, oxen free. That's home base. You can't just, they couldn't pursue them after that?
That guard's like, I don't get paid enough to chase these kids off base.
He's like, oh, they might have a nuclear weapon, whatever.
It's not even an active base anymore. It's literally just a junkyard. Yeah, guarded by a single fat guy.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't care.
So.
Oh, and their car breaks down.
Yeah, their car breaks down while they're driving home because the plasma ball from Spencer's Gifts electrics the car.
That's the best way we could put it.
That's what happens. He refuses to walk for help because he doesn't believe in ever having car trouble.
And so if someone sees him, they'll be like, ooh, I had to get,
Which happens later on. The fact that his car breaks down is almost like global news. People are like, oh my God, Mr. Motorhead's car broke down. It's like, yeah, cars break sometimes.
Happens,
Yeah, but they treat, he's upset, and I kind of get it because it hurts his pride, but everybody else is like, what a loser.
Why would they care?
Yeah, why would they care? Why? What does it matter to them?
So he waves a truck down to use their CB radio.
Yeah,
and he calls his friend.
Fisher Steve.
Yeah. And it's and then he's having sex with his clothes on.
He's having sex with his clothes on. The interior of his car is covered in Christmas lights and a disco ball.
Kind of liked it, actually.
It was so weird. He has, such a man crush for his friend Mike that he stops mid-sex with this girl to go save his friend, who is really not in that much trouble.
Yeah, bros before hoes, I guess.
Oh, your car broke down. You all right? Where are you? Oh, 2 miles outside of town? All right, I'm going to finish doing what I'm doing here, and then I'll come get you.
But he doesn't do that.
No, he just abandons this girl. They go get it. The music is great in this.
Yeah.
I wrote that because whatever music they're having sex to, I was like, oh, I like this song.
You and your songs, man.
They're great. So, don't worry, I'm not going to pull a hamburger motion picture and play it.
If you saw the last episode, or if you haven't, go check it out.
That isn't the last episode because this is recorded 2 months in advance, and you can't see these podcasts because this is an audio media.
You always do this to me.
Well, you always say it wrong.
Well, that's fine. I guess that's one of our, big things.
Anyway, so the nerd and a bunch of jocks are spying on Mike because his car broke down.
And that was what we were just getting to.
And but again, they are like, oh my God, we're gonna get him.
How?
But not how.
Why?
Why? For what? His car broke down, and now they're like, because his car broke down, we need to get revenge?
They're going to get for the lulz, I guess. I don't know.
I don't like, there's this group of 4 jocks who pursue him for about 40 minutes of the movie. I don't know what they're doing, why they want to do it. I don't even think they do.
I don't think it's ever explained either.
It doesn't make any sense. They spy on him for his car being broken, and they're like, great, now we need to get him?
Don't people have homework to do in these days? I mean, finals are the next day.
Anytime you see a high school movie, especially from the 80s, school in itself is not an issue.
They're like, whatever.
And, again, the final is the next day. They graduate in 2 weeks. He needs a science project, which I guess he has this boombox now. He's going to just show that in the science fair and be like, there it is. What is it? I don't know. What does it do? I don't know. What's it made out of? I'm not sure.
Yeah, just happened to...
So the guy will be like, all right, so F then.
And then is this where it cuts to the next morning? I love this. They're in typewriter class.
They're in typewriter class.
Which is great.
Which is a thing.
Yeah.
But Fisher Stevens is also smoking a cigar in typewriter class, like, openly. Was that a thing you used to be able to do?
Not that I was aware of.
Children of the 80s, please write in and tell us if you've ever openly smoked a cigar in class.
Yeah, I mean, it was ridiculous.
The gay slurs, what I would consider entirely too much drinking and driving. Like,
there was a lot of it.
And it's not even like the bullies do it, which is one thing, but Mike is doing it on the date with the girl.
Yeah, they make it like it's no big deal. Like back then, it's
not only no big deal, but like, look how fucking cool this guy is.
Now we have, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. All this stuff.
Well, not only Mothers Against Drunk Driving, generally society and laws against it.
Because people get killed and whatnot.
Yeah, generally.
So,
but
yeah.
In this movie, it's cool.
Yep.
So is smoking in class. And drinking in class, and teachers doing drugs in front of students.
Well, this is back when smoking and drugs, that made you healthier.
Yeah, well, no. This isn't the 60s.
Yeah, I know.
This is 1985.
I know. Oh, I got my years mixed up. It's okay.
So, now we're back in the garage.
Mm-hmm. And
where
he's messing around with this alien device.
Yeah, he's messing around with the boombox, and he's talking about he's going to restore it and pass it off as his science project, which, again... What sort of fucking plan is that? But he's just polishing it to make it look like a shiny boombox.
And then my favorite part is it just electrocutes another boombox.
No, that's before. Well, yeah, that happens. But he starts like pressing buttons and pulling levers and like pressing doodads, and this thing is getting brighter and brighter and going like. Boo.
I would be like, time to leave this alone.
Nope, he's like, oh, when I press this, it gets louder and vibrates. Oh, maybe I should press these things. He doesn't know what this is, and he's just he's such an idiot.
Yeah, he's pretty bad.
So this boombox, the alien boombox electrocutes a regular boombox, and Fisher Stevens is like, no, those were brand new batteries. Like, the batteries are what he's worried about? Like, no, I'm wasting these batteries?
And it doesn't really, say, oh, and then it makes a vase.
No.
Isn't it not?
No. Their next
Oh, that's
the next
right. That's
part
done
of
in
this
the
plan
school. That's right.
is they decide, no, that happens in this scene.
Oh.
The next thing they do is they decide, for what seems to be no reason, to hook it up to a car battery.
I love love how it has car battery connectors.
It doesn't. They just like fucking clamp it on.
Yeah, I
stuff.
know. I'm just saying. No,
It's just like, where do we clamp these? And he's like, I don't know, here and here. And so this thing, a bunch of ghost electricity starts like zipping about. It's like a scene from Ghostbusters. Like when you see Ghostbusters and Zool's tornado of ghostiness happens and all those like wispy spirits are zipping around, that's what this thing is doing.
Yeah,
which I guess makes sense because it's around the same time.
Yeah, we're using the same effects.
And then when this ghost electricity is flying around, then it makes an ancient Greek vase appear.
Vase.
Or vase, whatever
you want to say.
They're like, that's weird. They walk outside.
Just put it over here.
Yeah, just put it over here. That didn't really bother. Well, they're sort of like, well, that was weird, but like they just shake it off real quick. They go outside, find out they have traveled 2 hours into the future, and they just shake that off like, huh.
What are you going to do?
Something?
What are you going to do?
and they realize, they go, oh my God, it's 2 hours into the future. That in itself should be like, well, that's fucking weird. Then they go, oh shit, we just missed our science final. Huh. Well,
there goes my life.
They're not even like, there goes my life. They're like, let's go do something else now.
Don't talk to them and be like, hey, we were in an accident or something.
Or anything.
The dialogue in this movie is amazing.
So in order to find out what this boombox is, first of all, they're stupid because their plan is, well, let's go read a book about it in the library.
Yeah, and they go see the...
Like, they think there's a book on their experience that just happened? Because they go to the library and the joke is like, well, they've never been to the library before. They don't know how it works.
Which they don't.
Which they don't. And the nerd guy is there who is helping the guys who are spying on him to get revenge because his car broke down. Somehow the nerd is involved in that indirectly.
He's in every subplot of this movie.
Yeah, and he doesn't help in any of them.
Yeah, he just at the end he's just kind of there.
Yeah. So in order to find out what's happening, they go to the library and they're like, "Hey, look, we need a book." And he's like, "Well, what kind of book do you need?" Presses my glasses.
Well, I don't know, Margot.
And the guy's like, "Well, you know, like, what is something like appears and like disappears?" And the nerd's like, "You need to give me more than that."
I think he says he's like, "That's magic."
Well, yeah, he goes like, "That's magic," and then, like in trying to get some sort of book that will help them, they start to describe their own experience as if there is a book that is about them and what literally just happened. Because he's like, okay, well, what's the name of the book? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, okay, what's the author? He's like, I don't know. He goes, what's it about then?
The subject here.
Yeah, and he's like, well, two guys who like find an alien thing, and then like electricity comes out of it,
and they lose time.
And then they lose time. There's not a book about that just happened. Does this guy know how libraries work?
And then, but no, somehow he's like, there's a book about something like that.
Yeah, it's just about like time travel.
Yeah. It's
a science book about time travel, which is not a thing.
Not even in 1985.
Not even then. And we were at the height of time travel.
Yes.
Back to the Future just came out.
Yeah, everyone knows about that. Flux capacitor and whatnot.
The nerd just basically explains the concept of space and time to them. They're like, you're telling me that, like, space and time are, like...
Things?
Things? Yeah, basically. And he's just like, yep. So they go to Dennis Hopper, whose final they missed because of time travel. And they ask him...
I'm going to try that next time I have a final.
I'm sorry I missed it because of time travel.
Yeah, I was in space-time continuum, so, yeah.
So they ask if they can see him that night to show him this boombox. So he says, yeah, I'll be back at the high school at, like, what, 9 o'clock, something like that.
9 p.m.
So they break into the auto shop where the boombox is.
Good. This is a good role model for 1985.
I know, you keep saying that.
I know, it's part of it's hilarious.
Oh. Oh, you're right, it is.
Thank you very much.
While he's breaking in, he's being pursued by the bullies who go ahead.
You stop him?
No, what do they wear?
Yes, my favorite part. So this is where the 3 stormtroopers silly string his car for revenge.
Well, you got to explain what the hell you just said.
The bullies are wearing stormtrooper masks from the Star Wars movies, and they're just silly stringing his car.
They've been following him for like days.
And this is the end result.
This is the culmination of their stalking him and making a deal with the nerd for something and, like, following him home. Their ultimate plan was to just silly string his car for what?
It wasn't extreme silly stringing, though.
But it wasn't even, like... You think, at the rate they've been following him and everything, you think they're going to, like, try and kill him or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, when they actually do the silly stringing part, he's not even upset. He's just like, well, I can just wash that shit off.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, what? And I think that's the last we really see of them.
It is.
Yeah.
They silly string his car and they run
They're
away.
like, ha, got you, and then they run away.
Got you because your car broke down. Now you also have to clean it?
And then that's it. That's the least, wow.
That hasn't even happened yet, but that's the culmination of their characters. That's just it. So they go inside to see Dennis Hopper, and he doesn't know what it is, obviously. And then he hooks it up to another car battery, and a lot more ghosts of electricity start coming out of it.
I gotta cut in here. So yeah, and the electricity starts affecting him, and he's getting all taken aback by it, and he's like, "Oh, I can see things." And at this point, I write down, "All hail Bob the Sith Lord."
He does. Yeah. He looks like he's using force electricity.
He looks like he's Emperor Palpatine from the Star Wars universe.
So he's like, and of course, anytime this thing is hooked up to electrical power, it fucks with every other thing that's electrical in this town, I guess. So obviously, the next logical thing you would do is plug it into a wall outlet. So he plugs it into a wall outlet,
more stuff.
And now this thing is going fucking bananas.
And I gotta. Well, okay, go ahead. I want to do the one part. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know what the one part is.
Keep going.
Okay, so he's becoming he's getting powers. At least that's how he's describing it, because he's like, I can see everything. I am all knowing now.
And then, he died.
No, he didn't die.
Well, at the time, I thought he did.
Yeah, but he didn't now.
But at the time, you're like, oh, he's dead.
Okay, but you said he died. He did. Everybody who heard you say he died, he didn't die.
Yeah, but
he actually turns into a puppet for 2 seconds, and then the puppet gets really stretchy, and then he just disappears.
Well, I wrote on my notes. I put, "Oops, he died."
I got that, man. I heard you.
Right. I'm just saying.
So,
that's how I, at that time in time and space. That's how.
Oh my God! I know. I got it.
All right, you can.
So,
if you want to go on, we're more than.
Oh boy, would I love to. So
I don't know why you stopped everything.
Oh Jesus Christ, man! I swear to God, if you say one more fucking thing out of your big dumb head. So they're all standing there well, that happened, and then the electricity is sentient or something. That's never explained. But somehow they know that the electricity is traveling through the power lines to get to the power station? Something? I don't fucking know.
Their solution is to blow it up. So now they're going to become eco-terrorists.
Yeah, well, not really.
I don't know. So then they're going to steal dynamite. Let's add some more theft on top of the charges.
Oh, God, these kids, are going to jail for a while. They broke into a military base alone. So, yeah, they steal dynamite from Mike's dad's house, who owns a fucking hardware store. Then they get in his car and literally chase the electricity.
I got to hold on. So now they're really pushing speeds at 85. And I guess cars in the 80s at 85 could outrun electrical currents.
Well, you can, and it's the big electrical towers, the ones that look like, they have legs and shit. And you can see blue cartoon electrics zipping down these wires. I don't know if his car is going incredibly fast or this is very slow electricity.
He's going 85.
That's how fast this electricity is going, 85 miles an hour, which is insanely slow
for electricity, obviously. So they're setting the dynamite up on this tower to blow it up, and the guy's smoking. And I'm like, that's probably not a good idea.
Oh, also they have enough dynamite to blow up the Golden Gate Bridge. Why do they have so much?
Well, 2 little sticks would have done it here, or 2 little wraps.
They plant a kiloton's worth of dynamite at the base of this structure. And it collapses.
Right.
The tower collapses. The electricity just disappears. It dissipates, and it's never brought up again. It's never a problem again.
Well, then I love how the electricity's gone and supposedly gone in the whole town, but it isn't.
Yeah, they're if we do this, we'll cut the power in the town. They're yeah, let's black out the town. And they do that, and they kind of black out the town, but for only a minute and a half, and then It's not like, well, thank God we had the backup something.
Nope, just happens.
The lights are just on again later.
And then, I don't know where it is. I wrote this down, but I don't know where she says it. The girl says, my parents are going to have a hormonal disturbance.
Oh, yeah, she says that. It's right after the scene, because
Right.
Mike's dropping everybody back off of their homes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, and I was just like, what does that mean?
I don't know either.
Okay, because I thought it was interesting. Thought you might know. Apparently not.
Nope, I have no idea.
Mike gets the geek girl. What?
Mike gets the geek.
Yeah, they
What are
kiss
you
and
talking
they kiss,
about?
don't they? At this,
Oh, yeah, sure, they kissed, yeah.
and then they cut to. I believe it cuts to. I'm not sure where it was because I was so enamored with the fact of what was on the screen. Just Davy Crockett on the TV.
Yeah,
That was-
Davy born on a mountain in Tennessee.
Greatest state in the land
Killed
of
the bear when he was 3. So, yeah, that's Mike sneaking back home. He sneaks back home, and there is a cop waiting for him because this cop thinks he's involved in the robbery, which he was.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I guess that would kind of make sense, but for no reason at all, he's also accusing him of being involved with the disappearance of the teacher, Bob, who has only been missing in the movie time for what, maybe an hour?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he hasn't even been missing. Like, it's not even the next morning, and you can't file a missing persons report for 3 days.
So, and then also you have the problem of he's like, you're coming down to the station. He's not like you're under arrest. He's just like,
But then they get him to the station,
and then
and
they're like,
they arrest him there.
What's the thing? It's
He's
like,
like-
wait, you can't just bring me down here. I really didn't want to go.
Also, he's a minor.
Yeah, that's right. He's only 17.
Yeah, he can't go down there. His dad's like, I'll go with you. But if his dad's like, I don't want you taking my son there, they legally can't unless they're arresting him.
A lot of problems here.
They're just like, you're going to come down and we're going to talk about what? You don't even, like, but this guy is talking like, you are so screwed. I got you in the bag for this, that, and the other. It's like, no, you don't. That guy's technically not missing yet. You've got nothing to prove that he was in the house, and you're not even accusing him of doing the one thing he did do, which was blow up a fucking electrical tower. He did that, and that's not even on his radar. So they bring him. They're bringing him to jail, and Sawyer finds out they're in jail and is like, for some reason, gonna bring the alien boombox to the prison. I don't know why.
Yeah, he tells her to.
Yeah, he calls her on the phone right before he gets arrested, and it's like, you gotta bring down the boombox.
Why?
She's like, why? But then she does it anyway.
Well, she tries.
She doesn't know why she's doing it. And you know what? Neither do we.
That's never
she
explained.
So she gets there to the boombox. The boombox has slowly been bringing different time periods into the high school because there's like all sorts of vases and vases and skulls and swords and all kinds of shit. The guy, the nerd, is there. He is still evil, kinda, right now.
Semi-evil.
He's like kind of evil. And he's like, well, now I'm going to plug it into the electricity. Even though I thought we shut that off to stop it.
This cuts the whole, like, why did we blow up the tower in the first place?
Yeah, so he hooks it back up to the electricity, and now it's like, going crazy again. But it's not zipping around the wires like it was doing before. Why? The lights in the prison in the sheriff's department start to like flicker and shit, and they're like, "Quick, let's escape from prison and punch a bunch of police
and
then
steal a cop car."
So
like,
they
let's steal
punch
that to the crime list we have going on.
Oh my god, these kids! Once you start adding all these things up, it's not going to take long for a judge to be like, "We're trying you as adults."
They get to the high school, and then they get apparently there was an unsecured shotgun in the cop car.
Yeah, there's an unsecured shotgun in the cop car. There's also a swirling tornado of death and time travel, something.
Here's your favorite part of the movie's coming up.
Oh, yeah. So, up until this point in the movie, this movie's been kind of like, kind of silly, kind of goofy, but nothing to write home about. Dennis Hopper got sucked into space-time. We blew up a thing with dynamite. It's whatever. The last 20 minutes of this movie are fucking bananas. They go into the high school. The nerd comes out, and he's all like, oh, you can't go in there. It's crazy in there. And they're like, no, you're going to take us because we're going to rescue this girl, because that is now – the plot of the movie is now save this girl.
Yeah, and then also, this is sort of like kidnapping.
What sort of
Well,
like
they're forcing the
kidnapping?
nerd to go in with them.
Yeah, sure.
I'm
It's
stretching
sort of like
here. I'm trying to get more charges on them.
I'm trying to build a case against these two criminals.
Yeah, I'm the DA in this one.
So they go inside. The boombox is apparently like bringing the future and the past, but only into the high school. Also, it has brought a very large supply of dry ice with it, because the entire ground is just coated in mist. They see a couple of Nazis. They see like a Roman. Then they see Cleopatra walk by, and Fisher Stevens is like, I'm going to go fuck the Cleopatra. And he goes to do it, and then he's attacked by a monkey caveman. Then they go into another hallway where a gladiator is there, and they straight up just kill this guy.
He doesn't even understand what's going on.
He doesn't, and it's so strange because it's a very real moment, because Mike stabs this guy with a sword, and he has like a 30-second point where he's like, oh my god, I just killed a guy. In this goofy 80s comedy, this kid has to come to terms with the fact that he just murdered a person.
I think there's more, well, not so many, I don't think they kill any more people, do they?
No, they don't. I don't think they kill any more people. Then they go into the Vietnam hallway.
And that's where the Vietnamese soldiers are escorting prisoners or something?
No, there is a crashed jet, because this hallway, they go to the hallway and there's still lockers and everything, but it's also Vietnam. There's like trees and shit in Vietnamese and a downed pilot. They capture the downed pilot, the Vietnamese, and then the kids save the American pilot. They kill a bunch of the Vietnamese. They do kill them.
Yes.
They take their guns. The Vietnamese are also using American weapons, by the way. Then, after they free this pilot, the pilot goes, thanks. And they go, take it easy. And they go in different directions.
Yeah, could you help
What?
us, like, please?
Not only could you help us, is that pilot not like, where am I? When am I? Where is this?
And where's he
That
going?
But yeah, he goes into another room. When he goes into another room, does he not go like, is this an American high school?
Or did he just, maybe he just disappears? Who knows?
I don't know. So then we go into the future hallway,
With aliens
where they
or
have
something, rat people.
They have a laser fight with mutant rat people from the future, and then they escape the rat people, go into, and like, if you're just hearing us say this in this rambling order of like, then there's a monkey person.
This is what happens.
And then there's this. Yeah, this is what happens in this order.
Within 10 minutes of each other. The whole thing within 10 minutes.
Each one of these scenes is like 30 seconds long. It's like, we're in Vietnam. We're in the future. Blah, blah, blah. Now we go to the gym, which is in dinosaur times.
We have a T-Rex.
A T-Rex shows up, tries to eat Fisher Stevens. They blow a hole in it with a grenade launcher.
And it kills it.
And but it's laying there like moaning in pain.
Yeah, that was a little
like,
disturbing, actually.
And there's like a close-up of like this thing's like dripping belly wound. So they're like, all right, well, I guess we know what dinosaurs look
and they
like
don't even
now.
like put it out of its misery. It's still laying there with its eyes moving.
Yeah. Then they're being pursued by the rat people. They go into the... Are we back in the science room now? Have we made it there?
Yeah, they go up the stairs and find the girl.
They go up the stairs. They find the girl. Mike... The rat people are trying to get in. The boombox is going fucking crazy. Like, the whole room is just zip-zapping with cartoon electricity.
I got it. And then he stops the whole thing by touching it.
Yeah, he just goes up and he touches it.
That's it.
The thing stops. The swirling tornado of anger above the high school dissipates. He disappears. Everybody's like, oh no, Mike's gone. What happened to Mike? Girl cries. Fisher Stevens is sad. Nerd's kind of sad. Then 20 seconds later... He just reappears again with, apparently he doesn't know where, like, he's not like, oh my god, I was in another dimension. He's just like, oh, I'm back.
Yeah.
Like that, he was gone for such a short amount of time. Like, why was he gone at all?
My notes say, I guess he's dead. Guess not. It's right after the other. I guess he's dead. Guess not.
He saved the girl, because it's supposed to be like an emotional, she's like, oh my God, where's Mike? Blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, there he is. But they just killed a fucking dinosaur and turned off a time machine. There's enough suspense there. We don't need to also have him disappear for a second.
Well, then they walk out of the high school.
They walk out of the high school.
Bob shows up again.
Yeah, the teacher, Dennis Hopper shows up. He's dressed like his character from Easy Rider. He's making a bunch of references to being back in the 60s because this time machine that brought gladiators, cavemen, and dinosaurs just sent Bob back 20 years.
And
that's it.
Then he's arrested for no reason.
Yeah, they arrest him and not the kids. He was the guy that was missing, and they arrested the kid because they thought he knew where Dennis Hopper was. They find Dennis Hopper.
They arrest him.
And they arrest him. Why? Why do they arrest him?
So they decide. So after that, they decide, well, we got to get rid of this machine. So
not only that, it's not even like the cop who was like interrogating him and trying to arrest him before is not like, you guys stole a cop car, punched 2 cops. I think you're responsible for that detonation outside of town. There's a fire in this school that you just came out of, and you're the only ones in it, so we got to talk to you about that.
Nope, Bob.
Not only, just Bob. He has no follow-up questions for them.
You guys are free to go.
They just walk away.
I gotta get to this line though. But he's like, okay, well, we got to get rid of the what do you call it, the boom box? So he goes back to the base, and the device is thrown into the hole so it can destroy the world at a later date.
Yeah, he's not even like, well, I better bury it really deep because it was so easy for me to find, or I don't know, we still got leftover dynamite from earlier. Let's just blow this thing up. He just puts it back in that hole, and it's not like he takes it down there and he gently puts it on the shelf. No. He just fucking throws it in this hole.
And then they walk away.
And he walks away. And the move, and then that's it.
Not really. Well, they're driving out, him and the girl, and
they're driving
the car runs out of gas.
And he's like, oh, well, I guess we can walk back. And that's it.
He's happy because he can walk into town with his woman.
These characters haven't learned anything about themselves. They haven't grown. There's been no character arc. It's not like Mike was like, well, I'm really smart, but like I just want to work on cars. And then at the end, he's like, you know what? Maybe science class is cool. Nope. He does like none of that. The girl is the only one who has any, like, not the girl, the nerd is the only one who had any kind of arc, and his arc is insane. He's the friend of Sawyer, then he's the bad guy helping the jocks, then he's an evil bad guy trying to control the time machine, then he becomes their friend, helps them kill a dinosaur, and saves the day at the end. And he's not even at the end of the movie.
That was a lot to dissolve what you just said right there.
It really upset me that there was no characterization for this guy. He's the main character of the movie, and in the beginning, they play him as like a dumb sort of meathead who just likes cars, and he goes on this wacky adventure, and then at the end, he's the same guy. He just has, he just will allow himself to now walk into town. Like, that's it.
Well, that's pretty much the movie in a nutshell.
That is the movie in a nutshell. So why don't you take us into your final review and your suggestion?
This movie is just really boring at first. Again, like, I don't know. I guess I thought the movie was going to be something different than what it was, and so I was a little disappointed in the beginning. But the last 20 minutes really make up for it with the craziness that ensues. The characters are pretty dull. Love the 80s feel of the movie, and that's pretty much my review. I would suggest the movie. I thought it was a pretty decent movie. Wasn't awful. Again, fun one to sit down and watch if you got nothing better to do. And I'm going to do this before the Reverend gets his hands on it. If you got a couple of friends, have them over, have a couple beers, and you should watch this movie with them. You'd have a great time. Order a pizza, all that. Don't know too many movies from the 1980s, but I do know a pretty obscure one. I think it's obscure. I've never met anyone else that's seen it, but since there's a super moron in this film, if you want to see something let's try, how about Morons from Outer Space? I don't know if you've ever seen that before.
That's a movie?
Yes. Mel Smith, Griff Rhys Jones, and Paul Brown.
Well, you should see if you can find that, and we can do it on the show.
Oh, yeah, I will. I'll take a look.
So I guess it's my turn. Like Francis said, this movie really starts out kind of it's pretty slow in terms of, like I said in the beginning, the teen sci-fi comedy that, like, I guess that was a genre for a little while. This is the worst one. Back to the Future, Real Geniuses and Weird Science, and this movie all came out in the same year, and this is the worst of the four. It really is, well, like you said, where it's like, hey, like I always say, get some beers and a pizza to watch it with your friend. I don't do that. I really don't think this is that kind of movie. With that said, I watch it. I mean, it's not terrible. It's sort of one of those things where it gets so weird at the end. You kind of got to see it to, like, really believe, like, oh, wow, that was bananas how that ended. But the story is all over the place. A lot of it doesn't make any sense. The only direct drive of the plot is, isn't this a weird machine? Look how weird this machine is. Outside of that, nothing really happens for the last 20 minutes until I guess we were just wandering around the prop warehouse and we found a dinosaur in a monkey costume and we're like, how can we work this shit in?
Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, we watched it. The whole thing's on YouTube. I'm very confident that it will be on YouTube by the time this airs. Yeah, I mean, if you're curious and you're sick, or it's like you woke up really early on a Saturday and you got nothing to do, put this on, give it a watch. But if you don't watch it, you're not missing much. But I don't know. It's so strange because I had fun watching it, but now thinking back on it, it's like that was not right.
It's all right. Yeah, it's mediocre at best.
Yeah, it's mediocre at best. What I'd suggest is watch any of those other three movies. Hell, watch Back to the Future. If you listen to this and you haven't seen Back to the Future, take off work tomorrow and buy it and just watch it because I don't know where you've been.
That's a great movie.
It is a great movie. But other than that, and I think we're good. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or you want to send us hate mail, we love hate mail. You can send that to us at moviehotdog@gmail.com. We have a Facebook. You can like us on Facebook at This Movie Was a Hot Dog. We have a Twitter at Movie Hot Dog. If you follow us on iTunes, please rate and review and subscribe. That really helps the show. And I'm good. You got anything else?
I don't. And on behalf of Reverend Zach, I'd like to say this movie was a science project.